Well, hi, welcome to my shop. Thanks for joining me. So I was thinking, what should I start working on next? Thought, well, I'm gonna pick something easy, and then I decided, no, the heck with that. Let's pick something that scares me. This guy here. This guy here scares me because I've done at least one, I think two, similar to this, and in both cases I had a terrible time. But this guy, that was quite a while ago. So Hallicrafters Precision Built. So now some of you are going to recognize this kind of radio right away. These are sometimes referred to generically as TransOceanic radios. There was a particular brand, it might have been RCA, I don't know who exactly started this off, but there was a manufacturer who built the first one, this kind of leather case, handle on it, whip antenna, back that pops open like so. Whoa! Hey, this guy is really complete. Man alive, here's the antenna here. Okay, so this is suction cups and all. This goes onto your window. This radio is very, very complete. Okay, so this strap is probably for holding this this wire. Some instructions here. Hallicraft. This is typed with a typewriter. Hallicrafters Canada Limited. Model TW2000. You know what? This is full of. Something's been living here. Look at this. There's a whole set of spare tubes here. Holy smokes. Jackpot. Jackpot. So that's got to be the battery connector if you want to run this on batteries. Wow, okay, we're off to a great start here. Important. Do not remove tubes when set is on. Yes, that's how I got into trouble with one of these. And again, it wasn't this model or this manufacturer, but this style of radio. I popped three little tubes without realizing that you have to be very careful about putting in and taking out tubes on a radio like this. Even when the set is switched off, it has the potential to pop a tube. Wow, look at this. So there's the power cord, but it's been chewed on or something right in there. Pull it out. Yeah, we won't be plugging this one in. I don't remember a cord that looks like that. Okay, it's pretty stiff. Let's put this here. I'm clutching this. I'm so excited about it. I've never seen one. Almost always you open these up and things are missing everywhere. Wow, this one's not that way. So I'm just going to cut this right off because we're not going to do anything with it. Get it out of the way. And one other exciting thing. So here's what's got to be an antenna connector. Why is it just out here like this? Yeah, there's a big antenna in there. But why isn't it plugged in? Where would you plug it? Right in the top here. So for some unknown reason this is unplugged. What else do we see? We see some extensive surface corrosion on here. So this has not been a well treated radio, I don't think. Let's take a look inside. Let me get my close-up guy going here. Actually, even from there, you can't really see the kind of debris that's in here. But let me get my. I'm too excited here. Holy smokes! I think these radios, when working well, are really pretty darn good radios. I haven't even showed you the front yet. But again, if you've seen anyone like this, you know what the front looks like. Let's just take a look here. A little too far with the focus. Just one sec here, I'm just going to fix the focus here. Let's put it like that. So that looks like a collection of nutshells from some animal. It wasn't me. Canadian Standards Association approved, so it can be plugged into the wall. Look at the heavy corrosion on the outside of this chassis here. It's flakes of it falling off. So that's either a coating that was put on the metal. It's quite possible this was coated and the coating has corroded away. Well, what's that say? For use with Hallicrafters 220 volt adapter. That looks like a little bit of asbestos sticking out there, doesn't it? Lots of evidence of this thing's been living in a high moisture environment. What is that? It's like the that's a piece of metal. So that's the ground connection, I guess, for this antenna. Grounding what? I don't know. Grounding the rod itself? Maybe. I don't know. There's that wire. There's another one coming down here. It's the same thing, just unscrew it. It's just to stabilize it. Or is that what's actually holding it? You know what? That's what's holding it. That's what's holding it. That's just the holding. The holding. That's just the holding. Interesting. Resistor up there. Is there another antenna? Is that the only one? Is it going to run three gangs on the capacitor? Tubes right up on the tuning area. I wonder if this guy will pick up FM. I don't think so. 2 tubes right up there. Antenna and ground connections. It's kind of interesting in that if you close the lid here and you close the back, I guess that's where the antenna wires would come out. This little hole, but there's nothing back here to tell you there's any connections in there. Let's see what we can learn here. TW2000. 105, 120 volts, DC to 60 cycles. What are they saying? You can put 120 volts DC on here? Oh no. DC to 60 cycles. Or 90 volt B battery, 9 volt A battery. Licensed by Canadian Radio Patents, 43 to 52. So this is from the early 50s. There's the antenna. It's called the Skyrider. The Skyrider. The Skyrider. So inside this mystery tube, it's got a little adjustment on the end there. Inside the mystery tube is probably just something like this, only different. Yeah, so we were reading this thing here. Hey, it's got something written on it here. Lori, I think this is Lori. Lori, RUI. Well, RUI 5956 can easily be a phone number. What's your phone number? My phone number is Rui 5956, just like my phone number when I was a kid was Logan 3 7653. Stick antenna connector. Stick antenna connector. Now this wire is going to this antenna here. And it's in a little... That's got to be the stick antenna that it's talking about here. Although it seems that the arrow is pointing... Well, they're calling that thing a stick antenna. I would tend to call... No, I wouldn't call that a stick antenna. I would call this a stick. Shame on them. Okay, I think I got it right. What are those? This is a spring. Oh, it's a spring against the shaft here to put the brakes on the tuning capacitor shaft. Way up here. So the idea is you bring the antenna outside the radio, you feed the wire back through the finger hole and then into the radio. And then I guess it must plug in alternately with this one. So you use the inside one or you use the outside one. But this inside one looks to me like that's an AM loop antenna. Maybe not. Maybe it's supposed to work for shortwave too. Remove, why don't we read it here? That'd be a good idea. Remove stick connector shown in figure 1. Insert cable through hole in rear door cabinet. Plug Skyrider cable into socket from which stick connector was removed. Okay, they call it a stick antenna. Closed door. Place Skyrider antenna at convenient signal location. I'm supposed to know that. Convenient antenna location. Apparatus uses inventions of the United States patents. Licensed by RCA. Hazeltine, Chicago. Okay, so you tell me there's only 4 tubes in this radio? 1 L6, 1 U4, 1 U5, and a 3V4. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4? 1, 2, yeah. There's only 4 tubes in this thing. Huh. Yeah, I still haven't showed you the front of it yet. But I think we've gotten through all this. Not sure there's anything more to see back here. 4 tubes. Now, how many spares? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spares. Looks like there's an empty clip back there. That's quite a find. Now, are there any words inside this box here somewhere? Anybody leave any special notes? What about that gold bar I'm always looking for? Any antenna deal? What's this thing? What's this thing? This is a spring. I think it's a spring. Let me just what I'm trying to do is open the front hood. Is there anything happening there? No. It's got a thing here for loosening it. But this board is not going anywhere. This board is in there. Well, I don't know what that is. Why would they bother with this piece of metal? Interestingly enough, it's screwed in here. Doesn't even look like the screw's in all the way. But those other 2 screws you see here, those are holding the handle. I don't know. What's this board even for? Look, there's 3 holes drilled in it. Is there something missing? This is the battery chamber. That's what this is. This is where the batteries go. See, often in these radios the batteries go just behind down in here, but there's no space in this radio. So what they've done is they've left the space up here. You know, they'll undo this thing. then this probably swings up or bends up. You shove in the batteries because it's a big battery to go in here. It's probably a battery case of some sort, battery box or case. When I first saw this, I thought that's what this was. This was a battery tube. So that's got to be what this is. And this is just simply to hold it in place. That's kind of why this wire would be up close to here, because this is, you know, it's going to find its mate up in here somewhere. Okay. Figuring it all out, bit by bit. While we got the close-up, let's just zoom right in here. Oh, did I count that tube? Wait a minute. I found another tube. Hold on a second. There's a tube hidden there. 3V4. So there's the 3V4. This is definitely a tube. And this is definitely a tube. And this is... these are definitely tubes. That cover seems to be just soldered on there like solid. No, it's not. Barely on, in fact, this cover. Well, how's this work then? How's this work? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tubes. We've got 1, 2. There's a tube here. There's a tube here. That's shown here. I think that's it. What the heck's going on? They missed a tube in the diagram? That's it right there. There's the back of the speaker. No tube. Somebody better tell them about this. Well, that raises a lot of weird questions about it. That definitely raises a lot of weird questions. Okay, but I won't ask them. We are inspected by, there's the number TW, TransWorld 2000D. Inspected by DL. Wow, that looks just like my wife's initials there. DL. I don't think we're going to be able to get any more information out of the back here, but that was a pretty interesting journey. Okay, let me change cameras again, because I don't want to hold this one all day. So, you know, the reason I'm looking at this is I'm trying to decide if I'm going to invest my time in it. This radio was purchased for almost no money by a small resale store in Toronto. Kind of a knick-knack specialty store. They like these things in their store. They would have picked this up for almost no money, which is a real find, in fact. This is what it looks like inside. So I was in my garage yesterday cleaning up. This radio was out there on my out there waiting for me. And for the first time I opened up and looked at it, and I thought, oh, this is way better shape than I thought. It's certainly not in like new shape. I mean, look at the amount of corrosion in here. Oh man, and that indicates again, this has been sitting in some high humidity place. Wow, it's got these knobs that look like they came off a TV set. Switches here. Bass, voice, alto, treble. Hallicrafters World Wide. Okay, not TransOceanic, but worldwide. Band selector, tuning, off, on, and volume. So it must be tuning. Good. Pointer moves. Doesn't feel too bad. There's piles of debris in behind here. Looks like. And then the volume and on off. We got A lot of bands here, 7 bands. Weather, marine, and amateur. That's interesting. I love reading these things. Here, let's take a look at them more closely. So we're looking at the face here. Weather, marine, and amateur. All day, afternoon and evening. Navigation. I feel like I'm reading the categories on Jeopardy. Weather, marine, shortwave broadcast. Afternoon and evening. Standard broadcast. So standard broadcast. There's the civil defense indicator, which I think that system is still operating. Civil defense right around 640, where there's a Canadian station. This civil defense thing is an American thing. So here's the bands. Oh, look at the information they give you. 11.42, 12.3, 25 meter, 30 meter, 180 to 400 long wave. So this is below. This is quite interesting. This is below the AM radio band. And it's, come on. What? Okay, so they've colored this. They're all green here, except this one is yellow, and the numbers don't. Navigation. What do these numbers mean? So at 180 to 400, so that's got to be 180 there. That 18 is actually 180. And 400, so that means it ends around 40. Yeah. So here they got a picture of a ship and a picture of an airplane. I think there's airplanes flying with radios operating at 180 kilocycles. Were there really at one time? Interesting. And what's this right in the middle here? It looks like a beacon of some sort. Maybe that's a directional beacon. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Okay, so right above it is this shortwave band, 31 meter band. And they're listing all these cities. Let's see if some of these don't exist anymore. I think all those countries exist. There's Havana, Romania, Romania. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit here. Quito, Ecuador, the Belgian Congo. Sometimes they have cities, sometimes they have countries. Like here's Sweden, France, Finland, but here's a city, Bombay, which of course isn't called Bombay anymore. Tehran. Cool, eh? Albania, Caracas, Venezuela, Haiti, Java, USSR. That doesn't exist anymore. Ceylon, that doesn't. I think it's got a different name now. Belgian Congo. Cool. Okay, so let's keep going up. So that's 16 meter band. French Equatorial Africa. I think that's what that means. Western Samoa, Vatican City. Hey, they're still broadcasting. Marianas Island. Really? Marianas Island. Is that like the Marianas Trench? Honolulu and Norway. And those are close together on the dial, but not on the planet. And Batavia. Batavia. Come on, Batavia. Batavia's like a little part of Buffalo, isn't it? Or near Buffalo in New York State. There's nothing special about Batavia. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. Sweden, Iran, Paramaribo. Never heard of that. B Congo. B would be Belgian Congo. Dakar, Geneva. Hey, there you are. Tangier, Bandong. Now that's got to be Chinese, eh? Bandong. I would think. That's cool. This is great. I really enjoy this part, doing this. So here we are, top bands. Government. Police. Coastal. Aviation. Amateur 80 meter. I don't know if radios ever really worked like this, if you just go across the band. Government around 2 megahertz. There's nothing in here anymore, in this range. Nothing serious that I hear anyway. Weather. Cool, very cool. So you see, all day they're suggesting 15, 18 megahertz. That's, I'd say that's afternoon. Afternoon and evening are coming down in frequency a little bit. Afternoon and evening. Well, I would say this one here. This is Weather Marine Shortwave Broadcast. This band. This is the one to listen to right in here. It's got almost nothing. Hamburg, Bolivia. So most of it's up here in this 9 megahertz band. So I guess that's what was popular back then. And 9 megahertz, day, night. What do they say? They say afternoon, evening, day and night. Hey, same thing. Okay, now let's just take a close look at a few other things here while we've got the camera out. Really rusty in there. Do you think I should anticipate switch problems in this radio? I think so. Band selector. Okay, so we looked it all over. Oh, I gotta look up here. I didn't really look at this map up here. This is another. This is what sets these radios apart, kind of, when you open up the front on all these sorts of suitcase radios like this. Like I said, there's 4 or 5 different makers of them. They all have a map in them like this, with of course a time scale. Well, this one actually tells you what to do. Subtract 3 hours, 1 hour. So let's try for us. So if we go up here, oh look, they've actually got our part of the world highlighted. Hey, Ottawa. Ottawa's on there. Ottawa, Chicago, New York. So that's the time zone that I'm in. Notice the time zone I'm in up here in the east coast of North America is over top of the Pacific Ocean. People don't realize this. But that's actually like South America is shoved way over towards Africa compared to North America. Anyway, so we come down, it would say Eastern Standard Time. Oh, it's subtract an hour from Eastern Standard Time, so that's what they've done. I thought they linked this to Geneva time over here. GMT. Well, look at that. NST, PST, oh, HST. Well, that's a type of tax here in Canada, HST. So it was PST, Provincial Sales Tax. MST, CST, sorry I'm shaking here. EST, Eastern Standard Time, Atlantic Time. GMT, Geneva Mean Time. SAT, never heard of that. What's that, some kind of score in American universities? Nothing more. Oh, New Zealand, 16.5 hours. What's the matter with you, New Zealand? Well, check this map out. There's Ceylon. Tananarive. It's not called that anymore. Nairobi, Addis Ababa, Khartoum. These are all cities people would recognize back then, but today they're not so important. Casablanca, of course, very famous. All the European cities are the same. And what's happening over here in China? Shanghai, Tokyo. Tokyo is not China. Shanghai. And what's that one? Sinking. I don't know how you pronounce that. India, Bombay, Cairo. Okay. Oh, look at this, really nicely done here. Hallicrafters. Most favorable distance. Check this out. day 200 miles, night 200 to 1,000 miles. On what band? Oh, there's a whole pile of information here. Oh, right across the whole bottom. I didn't follow it. So band 1 to 7 gives you the frequency, it gives you the meters, tells you the best time to use these bands. Most favorable distance. The low stuff is just going a couple hundred miles. The higher frequencies, 1,600 miles. 1952. So once again, so this really is a this radio is a little older than me. I think that's what I would say about it. Frankly, I think I'm in a little better shape. So, dynamic tuning. I missed that with the close-up camera. Dynamic tuning. I don't know what that means. So, what to do about this radio? Well, they could really, strip this wire, hook up some electricity, plug her in, see what happens. Could do that. Some amount of risk to the 5 tubes that are in there. And the 4 replacements. 1 already missing. Well, I'm not inclined to turn it on the way it is. The reason is this radio is in relatively good condition. If you clean this up, like often these tops are ruined. Like the cabinet itself is actually in pretty good shape. Too bad about all this copper corrosion, but again, if just cleaning it may make it look a lot better. Surprisingly good, in fact. Except for this. I don't know what I can do about this copper corrosion though. But I think turning this guy on in the condition it's in would not be, it's not justifiable. This is an artifact in history now. It's come to me in relatively good condition. Am I the guy who's going to destroy it? And I virtually destroyed one of these in the past. I don't want to do that. So I think the name of the game is I'm going to have to pull it out of its cabinet, set it up on the bench, and certainly just to take a closer look at what's up, what's going on underneath here. It could be that it's actually not that bad because it's been in the cabinet and it's been behind a closed door. Could be the components are not that bad under here, but chances are really good that in fact it's got some serious degradation under there. So would I buy this radio? Hey, it's always a question of price. If somebody showed me this radio and said, "Do you want this?" my first answer would be, "Sure. If you don't want it, I'll take it." It's got tubes in it, and these tubes are they're not expensive, but they're a little bit special. These are probably 1 volt. They're 1 volt tubes, so a little special. So just on that basis. But having seen a few of these, I have another 1 or 2 in my garage, by the way, and seeing them in much worse shape than this one, I'd roll some money out for this guy. I wouldn't want to gamble too much money on him. If I could pick him up for 20 bucks, I'd still feel good because it's got tubes in it. Would I buy it like this for much more? I wouldn't. I'm not a radio collector. Believe it or not. You believe that? So I think that's it for now. I'm going to spend some time thinking about this before I go ahead with it. But I think it's certainly worthy of another step. And I think taking the cabinet out, taking the chassis out rather, is not going to do much damage. If we clean this up, I think it'll have a really nice look to it. I think there's a bit of a pattern in this. Now, from a store resale point of view, for something like this, the look of it is enough to get somebody to buy it for not much money, just for the look of that. Nice and clean in here. That would provide the look value. So that's it. So that's what I'll do. Next time I'm going to be on this radio, I'm going to pull the chassis out and go after it. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. And off I go for, it's a nice sunny day here. So I'm heading out for some fun. Well, yard work. See ya.